Rob, and today we're at the Red Lion in Chalton. So the Red Lion's one of the oldest pubs in Hampshire. It's a 12th century building, but it's been a pub since the 14th century, and it's now run by Fullers and does a lovely meal, lovely Sunday roast. And today's Sunday, but no, I'm not going to go for a roast. I'm tempted, but no. Anyway, we start our walk by walking out of the small village of Chalton down the lane. Quite interesting, this house here. There's an old millstone set into the wall. I wonder if it came from a local mill. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a pair of pants this time, it's a bra. What do people do on these walks? I mean, look, we're in the middle of the countryside. How'd you get a bra on the... Never mind. Anyway, I'm not looking for bras and pants, really. I'm not that sort of boy. No, I'm looking for this path over here, look. So, about a quarter of a mile out of the village, and we come to this path. We go through the kissing gate and start our walk up here. So we're heading for this gate to continue up Windmill Hill. Well, this is a very, very steep hill we're going up. Look at that, must be about a 40 degree incline. Anyway, down there is Butser Ancient Farm. And Butser Ancient Farm, on this location at least, was put there in 1991. Originally it was close by, on another hillside, and was set up in 1970 by the Council for British Archaeology, and it's what they called an experimental archaeology site, which means they took their findings from digs and they tried to recreate what the buildings must have looked like. Since it's moved here, it's open to the public and you can walk round. So let's look at some of the buildings. So they've got some Iron Age huts, they've got some Saxon stuff there. That place there is Romano-British. It's a Romano-British villa, and as I say, these are all built from excavations. They've taken the plans and recreated what they think the places were like. So for those of you that are still alive after the walk up that very, very steep hill, look out for this post on the left, and it's over the stile to continue up in thankfully a more shallow manner. So you can get first glance of the windmill across the field, and we're taking this path slowly up to it as you slowly recover from that bloody steep hill. So at the next stile there's arrows right and arrows left, and we turn left. So we're at the summit of Windmill Hill, and there's the windmill in question. There's been a mill there since the 13th century, although that one is an 18th century tower mill, so it's a replacement for the older mills there. It fell derelict in the 1950s, and in the 1970s planning permission was granted to build a house, so it's now somebody's home. You can see the windmill is obviously someone's home with the blinds, and attached to it like a big extension is the 1970s style house. So beautiful views across out the Isle of Wight in Hampshire. We're taking the path to the left hand side that goes down the edge of the field. So at the end of the track we come across a little gap by the 5-bar gate and a lane, and we're going to walk down the lane. So as we walk down the road past New Barn Farm, we're looking for a footpath on our right. Morning! Lovely one, isn't it? So just past the farm on the lane, look out for the finger post, and there's a track that we take leading off into the field. There's another kissing gate, and that brings us out on a lane, and that runs up from Blendworth. We're not going into the village of Blendworth, but we're skirting around the outside, going left down the lane. Morning! Well, here's something you don't see every day that used to happen all the time in the olden days. Used to milk the cows and put the churns out on a plinth like that, so the wagon could come along, tip the milk into the wagon, or change the churns depending on what wagon it was, and off went the milk. Doesn't happen now because they pump the milk into tankers, but I think that's there for old time's sake. So we've just come out the end of Duck Stile Lane, which is also known as Duck Pond Lane, and we're turning left. So just on the left as you turn into this lane is St Giles Churchyard. It's similar to the one in Otterbourne, in that the church is now gone and you're left with the churchyard. But there you can read a little bit about that if you want a freeze frame. But nice little area, similar to Bishopstoke as well. The church is long gone, planted up, just the gravestones around the edge. So just past the churchyard, we head down this way to the left again, and then turn right into Boys Lane. Hello, boy! Lovely cottages down the lane here. So some might say, with those big steep hills and that, these walks are only for the hardcore. I don't know what they're talking about. So as Boys Lane heads round to the right, we follow this footpath on the bend through the Kissing Gate. Another lane, another footpath. We carry straight on, avoiding the horse box. Now, bearing in mind it's December, this walk isn't too bad mud wise. It's quaggy, but it's not sink up to your knees mud, so perfectly walkable with a pair of wellies or a pair of walking boots. Quite nice, lots of open countryside, nice views from the tops of the hills. I just remembered something I forgot to say round at Butser Ancient Farm. Give you plenty of time for thinking while you're walking through these fields. But it's appeared on the television, well, once or twice on different things, but in my opinion the most famous thing, it was a set for a Doctor Who episode called Mysterious Planet. Yeah, Google it and have a look. So, forest operations, so watch out for falling trees. And we go into the woods. So you're coming through the gate, ignore that path that runs alongside the field and go up the vehicle track, and you'll see a dilapidated old sign and an arrow, and that's where we're going, down this public footpath here through the woods. So you can't really see, but over there was Idsworth House, and Idsworth is a settlement that was settled in the 9th century, and in the 14th century there was a Great Plague which wiped the place out basically, so now fairly deserted but for the odd homestead. But there's the old walls to Idsworth House over there somewhere, and several bits and pieces, but the house itself was demolished and moved on. It was originally 16th century, and the new one is 19th century. But over there somewhere is a walled garden and a donkey well. But I don't think we're going to get to see that from the footpath, unfortunately. So at the end of the path, follow the finger post, and nice handy sign saying public footpath. Stops you going into their garden, and just follow round to the right. So just up the hill on your right you can see the 19th century Idsworth House. A lovely walk through these woods on the the edge of the hill. It's I think it's Wick Hanger they call these woods. So after a lovely walk in these woods along the hanger, we come out onto the road. Lovely cottage over there, the old Union Jack on the flagpole. And we're going to turn right down the lane. So carry on along the lane and we're entering the small village of Finchdean. Now Finchdean is kind of east of Rowlands Castle. Sits around the railway, which we'll pass under shortly. So as we come into the centre of Finchdean, judging by the number of cars parked there, there's either a lot of walkers, nah, don't think so, or the pub is very busy for Sunday lunch, which is sounding very tempting to me at the moment. But hey, if I had Sunday lunch I wouldn't be able to get started walking again. So I was right. A lot of people in the George for their Sunday lunch, as there will be in the Red Lion by now I should imagine. So we're on the Shipwrights Way, and this commemorates a binding tree that was here outside a smithy where they used to hang straps and tools and things. So at this point we turn left. Lovely bit of wisteria growing along that line of posts or trees or whatever it is. Right on the border with Sussex here. Lovely buildings, lots of flint knap. So up there is the Portsmouth to Waterloo line, and we're continuing to follow the road out of the village, going under the line and looking for St Hubert's Church, which is an abandoned church in the middle of nowhere. It's called the Church in the Field, Little Church in the Field. So that's where we're off to, St Hubert's. So here's St Hubert's. It's the little church in the field they call it. It was built for a much larger village, but the village was decimated by the plague in the 14th century. St Hubert's itself was built in the 11th century. Saxon, and it was, well, there was a Saxon church there. Of course by the 11th century you're getting into Norman times. But it was built as St Peter's. So as I say, this church is 11th century, built shortly before the Norman invasion by the Saxons. Did give a date on the stone, which you may have caught on the video earlier. I think it's 1063 or something like that. So we've struck lucky, and one of the church caretakers, Liv, is here, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the church. So in we go. It's a very old church. Saxon predates the Norman Conquest. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Lovely.
Okay, so we can't go in because it's been a service, but it looks lovely in there. Thank you very much anyway. So in the church there are wall paintings and all sorts of lovely things. It's really unfortunate. Unfortunately COVID makes people really nervous, and we had the okay to go in and she'd give a quick talk, and then unfortunately it changed to a no, sorry, we can't. Real shame, because it's over 1,000 years old, this church, and from the little glimpse we got, it was lovely. But you've got to respect people's wishes. So we head back down to the road. The whole reason we came up here was to see the church. We've got to go back down the road a few yards, turn left. That'll take us up on that down over there. So a few yards back the way we came from the church, and we turn right down this bridle way, and a sweet little arch that would take the roof off of your car as soon as look at it if you tried to drive under. So this little arch is called Idsworth Cattle Creep. To all you railway aficionados, there's its number, 61 metres, 15 whatever. Hey, this is a wonderful echo as you walk under here. Anyway, out the other side, you've got the farm, but our path takes us left. Service 92 to Waterloo. Actually, I don't know what the service number is. So you're parallel to the railway, and when you get past this horses field, there's another bridleway. That heads up here to the right, and we're going uphill again. But thankfully it's nothing like that uphill at the start. So we've come up another bloomin' steep hill. Lovely views, mind you, out into Sussex. And we're going right at the top. So still enjoying those lovely views. Very, very short walk. And your track goes off to the left through this field. So top of the path, finger post is missing, but our path goes here to hug the edge of the woods where the deer were just running. So we're walking along the top of the hill now on Staunton Way, and this area is called the Folly. I don't know if there is an actual folly in there, I can't see anything, or whether there was, but lovely views across Hampshire and West Sussex from up here. So another style, and we've got a bit of tumuli up here, which is what that hairy mound is. That's a round barrow, which is a burial mound for somebody, some person or persons. They're quite wealthy, they tend to have the round barrows. Common or garden people, they tend to have the long barrows. Well, so common or garden, you're more middle class. As your working class, I think, just fell to the ground and rotted into the earth. But yeah, the more important people were buried in round barrows and long barrows. So lovely wide open vistas from up here. See Queen Elizabeth Country Park. Windmill Hill over there. I've got an idea that's Up Ark House over there, the National Trust House in the distance. And you can see Butser Hill in the distance, the mast. So you can see here why a lot of the houses are flint napped in this area. Flint napping is a flint facing, which is characteristic of a lot of the cottages and things in this area. And it's because flint lies basically amongst the chalk. And being on the South Downs, there's a lot of chalk and hence a lot of flint. And so when they come ploughing up these fields and things, it's all just laying on the top. So put it back to where it come from. There we go. But strewn with it. Plentiful supply for building. I think that's Harting Down over there as well, that great hump. So coming off the downland now, make our final descent back into Chalton village. So style leads us back into the graveyard of St Michael and All Saints at Chalton. And St Michael and All Saints is basically a 13th century church with additions, but 13th century nonetheless. So St Michael's is open It's a 13th century church, as I say. You walk in and the thing immediately on your right is the old pipe organ. Very nice church. It's Christmas, so there's a nice Christmas tree. A lovely little nativity. Lovely simple vaulted ceiling and lovely stained glass. You should walk up to the altar. And then in this little side you have the font. It's Chalton with Itsworth Parish. Wonderful pipe organ, that must make a lovely noise when it gets going. So exiting the churchyard, they got a lich gate. Story of a lich gate is these seats here. They were used by pallbearers of coffins. They'd sit down, put the coffin on their knee, and they'd have somewhere to shelter whilst they were waiting for the vicar to come out. But anyway, we come out through the lich gate, and across the road there is the Red Lion. They're doing very well for Sunday lunches. So excuse me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the case that that building with the cupola is the rectory, which is medieval. It's got a 18th century frontage. It looks the only building to fit the bill, so I think that's the one. So there we go, that was a lovely walk, a bit hilly in places, but smashing none the same. It was 8 miles or thereabouts, and it was very nice, weather kept off for us. So anyway, this is probably the last one of this year, Annus Horribilis 2020. I hope you've all had a good year walking, and it's not been too bad for you. I hope you've all kept safe, and I hope you'll join me next year when we do a few more walks around the place. And if you like it, then please like and subscribe to my videos, and I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and a safe and better 2021. Make me conscious now.
Stop bollocking around and say something.
Hi, I'm Rob. Keep rolling. Hi. Stop laughing.
You're thinking of that now, aren't you?
Yeah, just stop laughing. Don't laugh. I'm trying not to look at you. Hi, I'm Rob, and today we're at the Red Lion.
I'm shaking too much.
Shut up. Right.
Oh, we're wasting film.
Yeah. I'm Rob, and today we're at the Red Lion in Chalton. Lovely.
Oh, is that it?